Welcome to St Eustatius Church in Tavistock for the fourth of our reflections for Lent, which is offered in addition to the regular pattern of weekday and Sunday worship and our Zoom Lent group. Hazel and I hope that these allow time to be quietly reflective and creative, and to imagine yourself somewhere other than within the four walls of your home. This week's reflection explores what can be seen as Jesus' rejection of his birth family in preference for his disciples and those who follow him. It's a hard story for us to hear because I think it raises questions about whether we would be able to reject our family for the sake of following Christ. We hope that this week's reflection, with the associated resources and questions, helps you to consider the sometimes heavy cost of faith and to grow more deeply in love with Christ and gratitude for his saving passion as we journey with him to the foot of the cross. Before we begin our reflection, you might like to pause the video to find a comfortable place where you won't be disturbed, and maybe light a candle to mark this as sacred time and space. Now take your time to grow still. You could focus on the flickering flame of the candle, or gaze at the picture of Christ carrying his cross. In the stillness, listen out for sounds far away: traffic, a dog barking, birds singing. Now focus on sounds close by, clocks ticking, or other activity in the house. Finally, listen to the sound of your own breathing. As you breathe in, say, "Lord, have mercy." And as you breathe out, "Christ, have mercy." Lord, have mercy. Christ, have mercy. Lord, have mercy. Christ, have mercy. Give thanks for the life God has given you. Now begin to imagine the scene: a house crowded with people, all of whom have gathered to listen to Jesus speak. The air is still and humid, as the breath and sweat of many bodies heats the room that we're standing in. Outside there's a commotion, and whispers begin to travel through the crowd that Jesus' family are there to see him. Now we enter the reading, Matthew 12, verses 46 to 50, which is taken from the New Living Translation of the Bible. As Jesus was speaking to the crowd, his mother and brothers stood outside, asking to speak to him. Someone told Jesus, "Your mother and your brothers are standing outside, and they want to speak to you." Jesus asked, "Who is my mother? Who are my brothers?" Then he pointed to his disciples and said, "Look, these are my mother and brothers. Anyone who does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother."
Anyone who does the will of my Father in heaven is my brother and sister and mother. I've just heard Jesus say that to the crowd. But I'm Mary, I'm his mother. Incline your ear, O Lord, and answer me, for I am poor and needy. Preserve my life, for I am devoted to you. Save your servant who trusts in you. You are my God. Be gracious to me, Lord. Give ear, O Lord, to my prayer. Listen to my cry of supplication. In the day of my trouble, I call to you, for you will answer me. Lord, Heavenly Father, Abba, as Jesus calls you, Lord, what is happening? Why won't Jesus, your beloved Son, and my precious boy, talk to me? Why has he stopped listening to me? Why did he reject me just now? It hurts so much. The pain is nearly unbearable. I heard what he said as we were waiting to speak to him, but the crowd was so big, I'd have been crushed if I'd tried to squeeze my way through. He pointed to his disciples and said, These are my brother and sister and mother. He implied his mother, his brothers and his sisters are those who do the will of his Father in heaven. Lord, those who do your will, those who obey you. But what about me? Heavenly Father, I have tried so hard to do your will, to be obedient to your command. I'm his mother, and now I just want to protect him from himself. I can see he's walking straight into danger, into the lion's den. I love him so much. When he lived with me in Nazareth, he was such a dutiful, loving, caring, compassionate son, and he grew to be so wise and intelligent. Then he left the family business to go down to the River Jordan, where Elizabeth's son John was baptizing. He said he had to go to fulfill his calling. But I'm still his mother. And he did come back to our family wedding in Cana with his disciples. We ran out of wine. Oh, he said I shouldn't tell him what to do. But when I told the servants to do whatever he told them, they obeyed, and we had a fantastic wedding party. He responded to my request then. It was wonderful. His ministry took off from there, and I heard such good reports of him. I was so happy. But then he came home to Nazareth. It was fabulous to see him, to enjoy his company and hear so many wonderful stories. I always feel so alive when he's around me. I couldn't wait to go to the synagogue with him and on the Sabbath and observe people's faces, to hear people's comments about my son, your son, Lord. He was handed the scroll and asked to read from the prophets and then to interpret the scriptures for us. He read, "The Spirit of the Lord is upon me. He has anointed me to bring good news to the poor and proclaim freedom to the captives, proclaiming the year of the Lord's favour." And that was the passage, the words of the prophet Isaiah. And then he announced he had come to fulfill that prophecy. Such an amazing promise. What a special memory. But just at the moment, I don't understand. I'm hurting so much. Talking about it with you, Lord, is a comfort. When Jesus announced that he had come to bring good news, it was wonderful. Everyone was so impressed. And this is my boy. But then the crowd turned hostile. They didn't want to know. They tried to kill him, to throw him down the side of the mountain. But just as you rescued us all those years ago when Herod tried to kill Jesus, you rescued us then. And you rescued him again. I couldn't have possibly saved him from the mob, but you did. Yes, I'm beginning to understand. I need to trust you to care for him now. Leave it to you. I know you're saying I need to let go, but I'm his mother. How can I let go? I need to allow him to do what he believes is right. But he keeps upsetting the priests, the scribes and the Pharisees, challenging their authority and their integrity, even calling them hypocrites, actors putting on a show to receive applause and adulation for themselves, rather than honouring you, Lord. They are so angry. I want to protect him, to keep him safe, to hold him and shield him from their hateful stares, from their mocking words and angry gestures. Lord, is he asking me to leave him alone, to abandon him completely? Is that what you want? Or can I follow him as his disciples are following him, as long as I don't get in his way? But what does it mean for me to follow him? He's been talking to his disciples about denying themselves and taking up their cross to follow him. Lord, I am so worried. I don't know if I can cope with this. The old man Simeon in the temple, after Jesus was born, warned me that many would oppose him and that a sword would pierce my heart and soul too. Yes, that's what it feels like at the moment. But is it going to get worse? Is this what it means to be a mother? The mother of the Son of God? I feel so alone, rejected and abandoned. I can't talk to the rest of the family. They really don't want to know. They don't want to understand. They just say, he's gone mad. And they nearly convinced me. But I know now that your ways, O Lord, are not my ways. And Jesus must follow your ways and not my ways. But it's tough. I know you cared for me and Joseph for all those years when Jesus was a child and I was so young, when I was pregnant and when Jesus was born and when we had to flee to Egypt because of Herod. I know you looked after us. I know you love me, and I know you love Jesus so much, and I know you have everyone's, absolutely everyone's very best interests at heart. But if I let go and allow Jesus to lead me the way he believes he should go, I am so worried that I will have to watch him die. And there will come a point when you won't rescue him from the lynch mob, and you will allow him to die. Can I possibly watch as he is abandoned and rejected by everyone and allowed to die?
I wonder whether you have had times of suffering or rejection. Did you feel closer to God at that time or far from him? How did you get through it? If it's a current situation, would you be able to pour out your heart to God like Mary did in our reflection? God is always there to listen even when we don't feel it, and loves it when we turn to him. Or could you talk to someone else about it and seek comfort and support, whether from friends or from the pastoral care team, or your friendly curates? Relationships with people that we love make life worth living and help us to see God, but they can also be a source of great pain, and you don't have to cope with it all alone. Or to take another perspective on this dynamic, do you have family or friends that you've had to let go and trust God to take care of, perhaps during this pandemic, or perhaps as a child or grandchild was growing up? May you know more of God and his love for you through this reflection and your pondering.